We have a special guest today, the community manager of the featured server Galaxite. Hello, Gwynn.
Hello.
How is it going?
Oh, it's a bright sunny day. We're doing good. How about you?
It's actually pretty rainy here, but Rubixle has a bunch of questions. We came extremely prepared this time, and we might have not uploaded in 7 months, but we're getting back into things.
Who cares if we have not uploaded back in 7 months? Look, honestly, who needs an upload schedule? So there are some amazing questions that the community of Galaxite want to know, but I feel like before we get into like the in-depth questions that a lot of people want to know, we should talk about the new season 6 that just came out.
Yeah.
Personally, I think it was an amazing update. Also, my parkour has 200 plays, so
Wow.
I'm kind of
Nice.
popping up. Yeah.
That's like more subscribers than your YouTube channel.
We would like to ask about the new game mode Parkour Builders. We just want to know, like, how does it like work with like punishments and stuff for like inappropriate builds? Like, how do you manage that?
So players can create tickets. Like I'm sure you guys are familiar with the ticketing system, right? Like how you can
Yeah.
report a
Yeah.
player in game. It's the same exact thing. We have a new infraction type called inappropriate build. So you can load up that menu in game and report somebody's build if you find it inappropriate. And then our helper team can teleport to that world and investigate it. And if they do find something inappropriate, they can take the world down so that nobody can go to it anymore. And depending on the severity of what is inappropriate, if it's really, really bad, we might punish that player. We can issue something called a parkour ban, which is where it pretty much prevents them from creating parkours altogether. It also completely takes down any parkours that they currently have active. We can give those either temporary or permanent, again, depending on the level of severity of the infraction. We're not going to be like crazy strict, but at the same time, we really need to keep the community safe and kid friendly.
And for people who have not played the new Parkour Builder game, could you give like a brief rundown of just like how it works in general?
Yeah. So basically, you get put into a world where you have creative mode and you can fly around and create things. Currently, we are limited in our blocks, but we are definitely releasing new blocks soon and plan on releasing more and more throughout time. You can build any kind of parkours that you want, but it's not limited whatsoever. So you could also build an escape room or a maze or I don't know, anything really that you want. We have no rules other than, don't build anything inappropriate. But outside of that, we want people to be creative. We want people to have fun and build whatever they desire. And especially parkours, because they're super fun and they're very interactive and anyone can do them on any device. So, yeah.
Yeah, there's 3 blocks that like I think me and a lot of other people were curious about. What about like honey blocks or like slime blocks being added sometime soon? Or
The other day, we were talking about that during a meeting about adding a bunch of new blocks, including ones that like fall out from under you after you stand on them for a certain time. Like, we want to add all sorts of fun mechanics. Really, sky's the limit. So, any kind of suggestions you guys have for those blocks, we highly suggest you put them into our ideas and suggestions channel on Discord. And our devs actually do check that. They don't always respond, but they do actively read it. And we go through that. And our community has a lot of great suggestions. And we like to read those and know what the people want so that we can implement it.
Are you guys thinking about adding like the booster things that are in like Chronos where like they shoot you up in the sky and you can fly down?
they already have those.
Oh, they do? Wow.
You just don't know they exist because every time you go on one, your game crashes.
Damn.
Yeah, I mean, with it being a new game, there is going to be some bugs, and we expect that. I mean, Minecraft is typically a little buggy, but I mean, we love it regardless. And the nice thing is we can work on fixing the bugs. So, just like when Chronos first came out, it was kind of it needed a lot of polishing, but now look where it is today. And we expect parkour builders to be similar to that, that the more time goes on, the more updates we add to it, it's going to be something that we constantly tweak throughout time and make better.
Yeah, the last block that I wanted to ask about, this might be a little iffy, but like signs, I don't know if you could keep track of those very well. Like, would that be like a future block that might be able to be added or no?
I'm not really sure. I think one fear of signs is people using them to break the rules, like put something inappropriate.
Yeah.
So that's one fear. There's also signs, and any kind of half block or transparent block causes more lag.
Yeah.
So, that's all things to keep in mind. I'm not personally a developer, so when it comes to what is possible within the game, my knowledge is a bit limited there, but I definitely think it would be cool. I think signs would add a really unique element to the game. And I know the developers are very passionate about making sure the game is as fun as possible and diverse as possible, and that you can do a lot with it. So I'm assuming that they're very open to any kind of ideas or possibilities of any kind of blocks added to the game.
Now, moving on to like our next sort of thing about season 6, right? The new UI. Now, there's kind of a question that me and Kings wanted to know. I think a lot of people wanted to know this, right?
Yeah.
Why does Galaxite change their UI like every season? Because like we get so used to the UI in one season, and then like a couple months later we have to get used to another one. Is there like a specific reason why the UI changes like every season, or is it just because to stay new and stuff?
From how I understand it, we're trying to find the best system that we possibly can. Every UI we've made so far has been cool in its own way, but has also had negative sides in other ways. And we're trying to kind of find the perfect balance. Not only that, but there's a side of it too where it is the look of things. So each season has its own theme, and those themes are quite different from one another. One UI might not match another UI, but I do know that the main reason, the biggest thing, is we're really just trying to find the perfect setup that is great for all devices, that isn't laggy, but still looks good, and can also fit multiple themes. So it's really just kind of trial and error. We're trying to figure out what works best. And again, getting that feedback and suggestions from the community is going to ultimately help us find the best solution there. So,
Yeah, one of my favorite parts about the Galaxite UI actually is on other servers like the Hive when it comes to mobile. I don't know if they still have it as an issue, but at first at least I had to actually scale down like the mobile UI just to be able to click on game modes because like I couldn't see everything on my screen or it would just take up like way too much of my screen. So
mhm.
it would actually be like a disadvantage in games because I wouldn't be able to click on my hotbar at all. For those of you who don't know, I do play on my iPad. I am a complete noob. But that is one of the things that I like about Galaxite UI a lot. That's never really been an issue, like over the past couple of seasons.
We're really dedicated to making things better for all players, regardless of where they live or what devices they're playing on. Like, we want to have the best opportunity possible to give everybody the chance to play fairly and equally. So that just kind of plays into that core belief that we have, you know, making the UI accessible for everybody. And yeah, it's a lot of it's just trial and error. It's trying, seeing what works well, seeing what doesn't. And the change of a season is a good time to change a UI.
I got so used to the season 5 UI, and then like a couple months later, it's like, oh wait, everything's changed already. So
Mhm. Yeah, no, I can definitely understand that. I feel
yeah,
the same, like, for example, if YouTube changes its layout or something, it's kind of jarring at first, but then you do get used to it again. So,
yeah.
yeah, I can definitely understand that and can definitely pass those feelings along to the team because, we try to look at all the sides of everything when making a decision.
Now this next one is a bit more of a fun question, right?
Oh,
So
yay.
the hub lore, right? You know how like every hub has like Galaxite hub lore, and there's like those
Mhm,
wikis on Galaxite that have like so many people trying to hunt down all the little bits of the lore.
mhm.
Like, is there how does this like hub relate to the other previous hubs with like lore, or do you not know?
Yeah, so I can tell you what I do know, and that is basically the lore is are you guys familiar with the Sam and Danny story by Blockception?
Uh,
I believe
briefly,
so,
briefly.
like sort
Okay.
of.
I can give like a really quick synopsis of that. So basically, Sam and Danny are two characters, and it's a series of adventure maps by Blockception, and Blockception owns Galaxite. They're pretty much like it's a parent company to Galaxite. Basically, Sam and Danny accidentally, quote unquote, break the world by like messing around, and then Orby comes out, and Orby's this interdimensional being who helps them get through different portals to try and fix the problem that they created. And we kind of took that idea and ran with it on Galaxite as well. So in the hub and every hub that you see, you're basically in a different dimension within the universe. And Orby is the one that takes you through the portals to the different dimensions, and each season represents a different dimension. We have not yet revealed like the meaning behind that or anything. That's kind of about all we know so far. And then as of right now, at the very end of season 5, Orby went missing, and now Professor Chipstick is the one now responsible for. He's the one that got us through to the season 6 hub.
Isn't Professor Chipstick that like guy who owns the Chrono Shop or whatever? Or is that a different guy?
Yeah, I mean, he's at various places all throughout the server. He does lots of stuff. And in the original Sam and Danny series, he was the one who set Sam and Danny off on their adventure pretty much, along with Orby. He was kind of their main, he's like this crazy inventor guy, an engineer. So
I'll be honest, I was not expecting that full in-depth answer. I was expecting you to just be like, I have no idea about the hub lore. I just work here.
Oh
I'm
no,
sorry.
we're very into the lore on Galaxite, and we actually, I mean, I'm not, I can't reveal anything, but we have a lot of plans for lore in the future and plan on tying it in. But it's also going to be like optional, right? Not everyone's into lore, and that's okay too. But for the people that are into lore, we're definitely going to have that option available for them to get into it. And we actually already do. There's quite a few people in our community currently that are really into it, and a few of our wiki team members manage the lore page on the wiki. So if anyone listening is really into that, they can check that out on our wiki.
Yeah, I think it's really awesome that like a Minecraft server or Minecraft feature server has like just like lore. And it's not like
It's not pay to play, or like
uh,
you don't need to pay to see the lore. Not mentioning any other servers, but
totally not bashing.
Yeah, no, I get it. We're not really looking at any other servers in that regard. Like we're just kind of doing our own thing, and we want to have fun with the community with it.
Yeah, I
Yeah.
remember at the end of season 4, I think it was, there's like the whole vault lore behind. I think it was the one where it might have been right after Kronos or something. There's like the vault in the back of the island in space, and like Orby came over from the parkour, and the vault was like exploding almost. I think that was like 8 months ago or something. So I don't have a perfect recollection, but I remember it was pretty
No,
cool.
you
Another
called
oh.
you called a time warp there and it gave you like a piece of paper that said like Vault 8 or something. I think.
Mm-hmm.
Am I right? Yeah, I'm pretty
Yeah.
sure. It's like a specific area of the map.
Yeah, there are some mysterious things afoot on Galaxite in the lore specifically. So
Another, pretty unique thing that Galaxite has that a lot of other featured, Minecraft servers don't really have is they have a battle pass with a free option and a paid option, and with the battle pass, there's a ton of costumes, but out of all of those costumes, probably hundreds and hundreds, which one is your favorite?
Um, the one that's, I have a bunch of favorites. I'll give you 2. So my actual favorite is the one that I made that isn't available to the public. It's my Galaxite Gwynn skin. So,
Oh,
that one's probably my favorite, but other than that, like, the one that's available to the public is, I really like the Ultra Banana skin, the Golden Banana. I just think it's really
Golden Banana.
awesome, and yeah, it's from, like, I think season 1 maybe, and, yeah, I just really like it. I think it's very classic, it's simple, it's funny, it's cute, I just love it.
Oh yeah, speaking that just brought up another question in my mind. So for all like let's say like the server like gets really like super duper like popular within like the next couple of years and then like people find out that there's these really cool costumes that they can't get anymore from like the beginning of the server. Is there gonna be like a way that people could like earn stuff that they can't get anymore? Like maybe there's like a new shop implemented or something where like you get like coins or something from playing games and you can get like old cosmetics and stuff. from like previous seasons?
So
Or
it's really funny you bring that up because we are actually planning something. I don't know if you saw the changelog for season 6, but in that changelog, we have mentioned that we have some upcoming currencies coming out that people can earn on the server.
oh,
And that will be kind of entwined with what you were just saying. I don't
oh
know
yeah,
how much I'm allowed to say there, but
Wow.
basically the answer is yes, there will be possibility to get
yeah.
previous
I
things.
also saw in that change log that you mentioned pets. Can you say anything about pets? Or
Yeah, we're
really?
working on pets. We've been working on pets for a while. We're really wanting to perfect it and make it good, and really fun. Basically, we're gonna make it that, players can get a pet on the server and they can take care of that pet in different ways. They can feed it and pet it and all that stuff. Yeah.
Yeah, I have a theory, right?
Mhm.
Are they making an Orby pet?
Maybe.
Okay, that's a yes. That's a yes for me.
I'm not sure how much you're allowed to say on this topic, but do you know if you're going to be allowed to bring your pets into any game modes or into parkour or like stuff other than the hub?
I'm not really sure, to be honest, but the way we see it is anywhere where it's not going to interfere with the game would probably be fine. But yeah, I don't know exactly what they have planned for that, but I don't see why they wouldn't allow it in places where it's okay. Like, for example, they just made taunts available in like end game lobbies and other
Mm.
places that, it's fine for you to have a taunt because it doesn't interfere with the game.
Aside from the new parkour game, what game is like your personal favorite? Like for any reason, like do you like playing it? Was it fun to like work on or um, brainstorm, or just like in general?
I really like Hyper Racers. I think that's probably my personal favorite. It's just a lot of fun. It's a racing game. It's simple. You don't have to be amazing at Minecraft itself to be good at it. And I'm like, anyone who's ever PvP'd with me knows I'm not a great PvPer. So the racing game, I stand much more of a competitive chance. But yeah, I don't know. I like racing games. I did even when I was a kid as well. So.
Personally, the game that really hooked me into the server was Chronos.
Mhm.
Also, the game where during the Summer Blast tournament, I completely popped off. Don't know how, just magically got second out of like 32 people. But for those of you who don't know what Chronos is, it does take a bit of getting used to. But after you finish watching this episode all the way through, Potato Pie did make a really great video explaining that. So if you don't know what Chronos is, just be sure to check that out after. Moving on, though, we have some questions about tournaments.
Yes, we
Mhm.
do. Also, I forgot to say, you know that my favorite game on Galaxite is Fill the Gap. Okay, we should move on.
Well, I was gonna say that's my second favorite game.
Honestly, Fill the Gaps is like a really good game.
I think that was the first game I played.
I really enjoy it. Like I like the games that are competitive, but also not crazy competitive.
Yeah,
Like you can be really good at fill the gaps, but not you don't have to be again good at
yeah.
Minecraft for it. So yeah, I like those games that kind of put everyone on an even playing field.
But onto our next topic. So tournaments.
Mhm.
We wanted to know about like the community tournaments. Like, how do they necessarily work, and like how like often are they really?
The way they work is pretty much someone in the community comes to me or someone on the team, but usually if you go to any of the devs, they're going to say talk to Gwen. So you come to me and you propose an idea of what kind of tournament you want to run, and we tag them up with the senior helper so that they can co-run the tournament. Yeah, and we kind of have like a template we follow in a sense of how we run the tournaments, and it takes a lot of planning. We usually plan for at least 2 or 3 weeks before a tournament, and we try to do them every few months. Our goal is to do at least one or two every season. Not going to act like that always happens, but that's what we try for. And honestly, as time goes on, that will become easier to do.
Yeah, I
Um,
think one of the things that makes Galaxite stand out like immensely from other servers is that they're willing to do like community events and stuff. Like I just find that so cool that they're so involved with their community, and that's like I think me and a lot of people agree that Galaxite's like
Yeah, I mean, we really enjoy interacting.
There's also a lot of player spots. Like, I'm looking at this last tournament, there is, like, 16 teams of 4 people, which, like, compared to your average community-run tournament is, like, a lot of spots. Like, that's 48 people, and only, like, 9 of them are, like, content creators probably. So, like, a lot of, community members are, like, able to play these tournaments, which I think is really great.
Yeah, we try to get as many people involved as possible just because we do have so many players and we wanna give everybody that chance if possible. So,
Yeah,
we
I
do
think
our
that's really
best.
cool. Now, on to the next thing about tournaments. So, I feel like you probably knew this question was gonna come up some point in the podcast, maybe, but the Summer Blast tournament, right?
Mhm,
I can say this without a doubt. I think every single person that played in the event was like astonished at how amazing it was.
mhm.
Kings can vouch, right?
Yeah, it did have, like, a couple bugs at the beginning, but, like, overall, compared to what the community of all servers is used to as a tournament, it was just, like,
Yeah.
really well run.
Do you think it will happen again? And if so, what games do you think would be played in the tournament?
The short answer is we definitely want to do another tournament similar to the Summer Blast one. But the long answer is it's very complicated. The first thing is it takes a lot of dev time. I'm pretty sure the Summer Blast tournament took somewhere between like 2 weeks, possibly even longer, of our entire dev team dedicating only their time to the Summer Blast tournament, which means for those 2 weeks, they weren't working on updates on other games or ways to make, the server better or games better, maybe minor things here and there, yeah, but really their main focus was on that Summer Blast tournament. And that Summer Blast tournament wasn't really, I mean, it was for spectating for the players, but more so it was for influencers who would be playing it. So, it's a fine balance between having the time for the devs to do that and also doing it, having them prioritize other games and other things on the server. The second thing with that is the tournament has to be the idea behind it is that it's mutually beneficial. It's beneficial to the server because it brings more players in, it brings us more recognition, it gets our name out there more. And it's beneficial to the influencers because they have content they can create from it that will most likely be watched because people were interested in the tournament. There's a cash prize that they could have possibly won. So, really, the idea is that it's mutually beneficial on both sides. And while the Summer Blast tournament, we do feel it really did benefit us. To do that again, we would have to make sure it is really beneficial. Some of the influencers that we worked with in the Summer Blast tournament did not end up creating any videos from their end of the tournament, which is fine. We didn't say they had to. But at the end of the day, the more videos influencers create on Galaxite, the more it's going to be able to allow us to do something like that and give us the, I guess, push that we need to be able to do that. So the biggest thing would be we just encourage all of our influencers, if they really want to do something like that, we need to see regular and consistent content from them. And then we also need to hear from them. Like you asked me what games would
Mhm.
be in something like
Yeah.
that. Really, we would leave it up to you guys. What do you guys want? And you guys playing the server and uploading videos and playing the games that you like that you want to play would most likely influence that as well.
Yeah, I think the Galaxite staff, including yourself, are probably aware of the more popular games on the server. So I don't think you would make a tournament on like prop hunt, like a whole tournament on prop hunt,
No,
you
I
know?
doubt it.
Yeah. So
No.
I think the games would be playing. My guess, Kings probably agrees too. Kings, you just go along with it or say right.
I'll go after you, I'll go after you.
Okay, I think if there was another one, I think it would just be the same 3 games. I think. It's a pretty
Uh,
even balance.
Personally, I so speaking for the mobile community here, Hyper Racers on mobile it's like 50-50. Like sometimes it'll work perfectly on some maps, but then on other maps, like some of the ones played in the tournament, me and John both had like some technical like chunk loading difficulties where we couldn't really see. So one of the games that I was really hoping is going to be in a future event is well, not quite the arcade, but like I'm blanking on the name right now.
A
But there's
playground.
The
yeah,
playground?
Playground. There we go. There's a game. What's it called? It's similar to TNT Tag.
TNT. It's TNT Tag.
Oh, it is. It is TNT Tag. I'm
Kings, are
so
you
good
like?
with names. I'm like a professional name person. But I really think that TNT Tag would be like so fun if it's hyper competitive, just because of how stressful that would be for everyone. It's like the stakes are like super high, and it's like your luck can go from good to absolutely horrible in a blink of an eye.
Yeah, I mean, I think we have a lot more available on the server now since the Summer Blast tournament. So I'm sure if we did do a new tournament, we would definitely implement some of those newer things because, why see the same tournament over again? Not that it wasn't
Yeah.
cool, but let's see something new and interesting.
One of the things I would like to see in a future tournament is a better way to prevent camping in games like Chronos. Because I remember a bunch of people, including partially myself at points, would just like fly around on the launch pads for a while just because like you can't really die that easily
By
while
the
in the
way, don't
air.
worry. I'm friends with Crazy Guy. He doesn't mind that I'm slandering his name.
But yeah, like crazy at the time. I believe some people just camped on like the top of a castle, and I feel like some way to prevent that from happening in the future would be really great to like encourage PvP a little more. Like I remember kills counted for points, but maybe if they counted for like one more point or like half a point more, that might just be the extra boost.
Yeah, I mean, that's definitely an idea, something to consider. We did talk about rules for the tournament, whether or not camping would be against the rules. And I believe we ended up coming to the terms that, even though it's not the best option, it is still a valid one.
Mm.
And we don't, I don't know, we're not big fans of restricting people. Like,
Mm.
while there can be some annoying things in game, we believe people have the right to have fun and play the way they want to play as long as they aren't, ruining it for others. And I don't see camping as ruining it
Yeah.
for others unless they're taking it too far. And in that case, we had moderators looking over the situation. Like during the tournament, we had
Mhm.
people watching everything the entire time. So in tournaments specifically, it's really easy to be like, all right, guys, you can camp for like 30 more seconds and then get out of there,
Yeah.
Um,
Yeah.
in live games, it's a different situation, but yeah, tournaments, it's easy.
Yeah. One thing I would like to add on the final topic of like the Summer Blast tournament or tournaments in general, right? So I think me and Kings have just been talking about this like by ourselves, just like in calls. Like I think influencers and a whole bunch of content creators would still play in those kinds of tournaments even if there was like no cash prize at all. I can like 100% guarantee that. Like
Like,
I
just for the
think
sake of, like, content for the
just like
winners
yeah, and
or just,
fun.
like, to have fun, and, like, a lot of people could get good videos out of it. Like, I don't remember exactly, but I do feel like there was a good amount of streamers last time.
If you guys think that like you have to give money every single time you do one of those, I don't think that's the case. I think like
Yeah.
anyone would want to play, even if it was like not for cash prize, pretty much.
Yeah, I get you. No, I appreciate hearing that. At the end of the day, that specific part is not really up to me. That's more so an Alex thing. Alex is
Yeah,
one of the co-owners of Galaxite. So, between him and Jonathan, they kind of make that decision together and everything. But I'm sure it will. I have a feeling they'll listen to this, and I'm sure it'll be nice for them to hear that.
yeah. All right, Kings. On to the next topic. In the meantime, I'm gonna go to the bathroom.
Amazing. But, on to some community questions. We already actually, we didn't quite cover it, but for low-end devices like me on mobile, in games like Hyper Racers, are there any ways to reduce lag? Like, for example, turning down your render distance, I think that helps a bit.
Yeah, I'd say turning down your render distance, turning graphics to what is it? I think fast instead of fancy. You know, all the normal stuff that you would do. And then also on our end, we are trying to make changes to better connections for people. So
I did actually notice that, yeah, because I used to like, last summer, it would used to be, like, every other game of Chronos I crashed, and, like, yesterday, I was just playing with Rubixel, and, like, I don't think I crashed the entire time, so, like, it's definitely improved, at least from what I can see.
we are making steps to improve that all the time, and we actually have a big overhaul planned to do a lot of stuff in the back end to make that better. In addition, I mean, we've talked about it before, but we do plan to get an Asia region as well, which will help a lot of people who are in the Asia region, you know, they'll be able to have a much stronger connection.
Yeah, I've definitely seen that question coming up a lot.
Yeah. And, you know, we recommend you play in the region closest to you. And then, of course, once we have more regions available, it'll just become better for people, which we are working on. We realize how highly desired the Asia region is. And we definitely want to make that happen for people and are actively working on it. It's just unfortunately not as easy as it seems.
I can only imagine. But, moving on to another question, I was going to name the person that this question came from, but I completely forgot. So, how long does it take for one of your games to come to fruition? Like, that includes all the planning, coding, building, and all other necessary stuff.
I would say it kind of depends on the game. Typically between 3 and 4 weeks. However, that can really just depend. So, for example, Chronos took a lot longer than that. I think Chronos was in development for at least a few months and continued even after we released it, continued in development. So, um, one could even say it's still not quote unquote done because we're always still updating it and making it better. So, a game like that, I'd say a lot longer. And then other games, like I'm pretty sure Fill the Gaps was made in maybe 1 or 2 evenings. Um, so that sort of thing. It really depends on the game, but I'd say typically between 3 and 4 weeks.
Bouncing off of that, though, we do have our final question. Where did you get the name Galaxite from?
So I was not really there when they discussed that, but basically it was a group of the people who created Galaxite. Like I think like a group of 4 or 5 of them. And they kind of all got together one day and discussed possible name ideas. And then I remember them making an announcement on the Blockception Discord, basically we're like voting on which name we liked collectively as a group. And I think Galaxite won.
Are you allowed to say any of the other names? I'm just, like I'm interested into the lore
I'm
now.
also interested now.
I
I'm hooked.
honestly don't remember them. It was a long time ago. Like the name was thought up like over a year before we ever released. I think it might have even been 2 years. I don't know. It was a really long time ago.
I think that's gonna wrap up this podcast. It's been amazing having you on, though.
Thank you, Kings. I appreciate it.
No, not you, Rubixel. I'm gonna kick you now. No.
Oh.
It's been amazing being here. Thank you guys for having me. I appreciate it.